Can I tell you, my brothers and sisters, one of the fundamental rips in the family these days is that we've allowed the Moseses of our family to die and go into the grave without a Joshua getting the wisdom transfer before Moses left. We cannot be so busy building as Joshua that we forget to spend time with Moses. Sometimes we're so busy and we're so caught up trying to develop a legacy when the truth is that the legacy is already there. Joshua chapter 24, verse 15 through 18, you'll find these words. And if it seems evil to you, something's going on. It can't be my eyes. If it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. Here it is. This was on my house when I was growing up. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. So the people answered and said, it's in my house now. Far be it from us that we should forsake the Lord to serve other gods. In other words, ain't gonna do it. For the Lord our God is he who brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who did those great signs in our sight and preserved us in all the way that we went and among all the people through whom we passed. Final verse. And the Lord drove out from before us all the people, including the Amorites who dwelt in the land. We also will serve the Lord, for he is our God. I want to preach a little while this morning using as a subject a legacy of faith. You may be seated in the presence of our good and gracious God, a legacy of faith. I don't know whether or not she peeked into our system to see our message or not, but Missionary Edwards and I are absolutely on target and on sync this morning. And I want to be the first to say, I missed that. Yeah, man, we back like we never left. I missed that. And what a great way to start it off. In the southern region of Africa, there remains one of the great cities that's still standing. It is the Great Zimbabwe Ruins, built between the 11th and 15th centuries. This ancient stone city was constructed without mortar, just carefully stacked granite stones, one on top of the other. What's astounding about this Zimbabwe ruins is that despite centuries of wind, rain, political shifts, and even abandonment, the outer walls and towers remain intact. Some walls are over 30 feet tall and have stood for nearly 1,000 years. Why, you may ask? It is because the builders knew that lasting strength requires careful planning and a solid foundation. Like that ancient city, our homes, my brothers and sisters, our marriages, our children's futures must be built with more than momentary efforts. If we want our faith to last, not just through our lives, but for generations to come, we must build it right during this generation. Many of us, my brothers and sisters, are literally living proof of the foundation that our ancestors have laid so many years before us. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at the trajectory of what Maya Angelou calls these yet to be United States, it is evident that there is an all-out attack on the family. Infidelity and divorce, premature deaths, molestation and rape, drug addictions, lust masked as love, family members with incest fetishes, big mama being traded in for a hot girl summer. Things just ain't the same no more because we've allowed the foundation of family to be fractured. From the very beginning of time, my brothers and sisters, before there was a church, a temple, or even a nation, God established the family. In Genesis chapter 2, before sin entered the world, God formed the man. Then he formed the woman, and then he formed the family. The first thing God blessed wasn't a business, it wasn't a building, it wasn't a bank, but the first thing God blessed was the family. He created Adam and he didn't create Adam and send him to church. He did not create Eve and send her to a conference or revival. He created them together and then he called them good, which means God blessed them. Family wasn't man's idea, it was heaven's intention. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 24, it says, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. This wasn't just about romance, it was also about responsibility. I need you to understand, my beloved brothers and sisters, despite all of the fairy tale movies we saw, our marriages are not always going to be romantic. But sometimes you got to stand on the responsibility of the family. I can't get no help in this church here today. God didn't give Adam a partner to pacify his loneliness. He gave him a purpose wrapped as a partner. To work and to worship and to build legacy. Listen, the purpose of marriage is not just love, but it is also to build a legacy. I wish I can just get a little bit of help here today. One thing we've got to understand is that we must stop entering into relationships with people that want to negotiate our relationship with God. Because I cannot compromise my connection to Christ, because if I'm not close to him, I'm no good for you anyway. Genesis chapter 4 introduces us to the first children, Cain and Abel. They are not just as sons, but as the next generation of God's story. Children aren't interruptions to our purpose. My brothers and sisters, they are extensions of our purpose. As I get older, as I look at my children, I am often filled with overwhelming joy and pride as I see them do great things and go far, because they are an extension of my purpose. And whatever we are not able to get done, it is their job to pick it up and finish the race. God told Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, be fruitful and multiply. Multiplication, my brothers and sisters, wasn't just about numbers, but it was about multiplying faith and multiplying honor and multiplying purpose through the generations. Legacy does not begin when you die. It begins with what you're living right now. By Genesis chapter 3, ladies and gentlemen, sin now has entered into the world. And immediately the family felt the fracture of sin. Blame entered the conversation, distance between man and wife. Even their children, Cain and Abel, were caught in the crossfire. And here is where the birth of sibling rivalry first began. Because the enemy didn't wait to attack the family, he started with the attack. Because if the enemy knows that the enemy knows the power of family, and if he knows the power of family, so should you and I. That's why your family cannot just be built on emotion, but our families must also be built on conviction. Listen, there is nothing in our life that should be dependent upon emotion, because you won't always feel like doing certain things. You won't always feel like staying through it and talking through it and working through it. It is not about emotions, but it is about building a legacy of faith that will withstand the test of time. Such are the principles planted in our passage today, my brothers and sisters. The book of Joshua begins with death, but it ends with declaration. I'll say it again. The book of Joshua begins with death and ends with declaration. Joshua chapter 1 verse 1 says this: Moses, my servant, is dead. Now Joshua, arise and go forward. Can I tell you, my brothers and sisters, one of the fundamental rips in the family these days is that we've allowed Moses, the Moseses of our family, to die and go into the grave without a Joshua getting the wisdom transfer before Moses left. We cannot be so busy building as Joshua that we forget to spend time with Moses. Sometimes we are so busy and we are so caught up trying to develop a legacy when the truth is that the legacy is already there. And I want to tell you, my brothers and sisters, yes, I'm a millennial. Yes, I look at a few things different, but we must never look at the generations before us and declare that they didn't know what they were talking about. Because one thing about it, they knew how to do more with less. And some of us are doing less with more. Oh, God, I got no help in this church here today. And so now here in the book of Joshua, we see a leadership transition. In Joshua's chapter 23 through 24, Joshua now is at the end of his life, and he knows that his time is short, and he is giving his final address to the people of Israel, just like Moses did before he passed. In other words, Joshua has gathered everybody together and he says, listen, I'm on my way up to glory, but before I go, let me spend time with you and tell you everything I know. My family and I often joke about it oftentimes, but before my wife's grandfather passed away, I got the opportunity to meet him in his later years. And when we met and we were introduced, and he asked me a question, or somebody told him, he said, hey, Papa, he's a preacher just like you. And he looked at me and he said, what you preach? I said, Papa, trying to be, a good grandson, like, let me in, boss. And I said, Papa, I preach from the same Bible just like you preach from. He said, that don't bother me. And I was immediately offended by it, because why? You hating on me, Papa. You don't even know me. Give me a chance. If you give me a chance, you'll love me. I think what he was trying to say is, you can preach from the Bible, but do you live from the Bible? It's one thing for you to tell me that you preach, but I believe Papa was saying, I've seen preachers before, but I haven't always seen preachers that were livers. God, I wish I had somebody in the room that can testify. I may not ever preach. I may not work on any ministry. I may not ever be on the praise team, but my goal is to live this book because I've got a legacy of faith. Joshua is not just talking about a military leader or some militaristic attack, but now he's speaking as a spiritual father of a nation. His concern is not about battles and borders, but about the spiritual future of the people. He said, before I go, I got to make sure I leave you God. Oh, God, I wish, just help me just a little bit. He said, before I go, I got to leave you God. And in the day, yes, my brothers and sisters, we need insurance and we need inheritances. And if you can buy land, buy it. But it don't do them no good if you leave them wealth, but no wisdom. If you leave them goods, but no God. Oh, God. Look at somebody and tell them, don't just leave goods, but leave some God. If I could be honest with y'all, brothers and sisters, shameless plug, but not really. The first thing that led me to write two of my books was, my two books was that I started thinking about legacy. And I wanted to leave something on this earth, Sister Lisa, that when my great-great-grandchildren that never met me, when they read the book, they could say, oh man, my great-granddaddy had some knowledge. He had some wisdom. We've got to leave some wisdom behind, because the way that the world is going, oh my God, do you not know that your children don't use Google? They actually look at TikTok. No, I don't mean scrolling. I mean that when it's something in that, they don't go to Google like we do. They'll search it on TikTok before they go to the internet. And so they're looking at, y'all don't understand the gravity of this. They're looking at people that as long as they have a light and a camera, they can teach our children whatever they want to teach them, because that's where they're going first. So we got to build some legacy. We've got to be open to have uncomfortable conversations with our children, because I would rather you tell me than to ask them. Yeah, I know that you done some stuff you ain't proud of, but I'm here to let you know I did too, and I'm going to cover you just like my parents covered me. I can't get no help in here today. He shows them oh God, let me stay there just a little while. We got to get through here. Listen, we cannot be so holy and so saved that we can't have honest conversations. Oh, God, you ain't that holy. You're not that righteous. You got to be able to tell your children, I've been there too. I've dealt with that. I've survived it. I've come through it. Here's the thing. I can't keep you from doing everything, but I can tell you my experience and what I had to deal with from going through it. Oh, God, we got to pass down purity and not pornography. I refuse to allow the spirit of pornography and masturbation, y'all don't want to have this conversation, to enter into my church. So if they don't do it, that means we got to stop. Oh, yeah, because the spirit becomes transferable in the walls. Oh, God, y'all don't want to have this conversation with me today. Joshua now gives them a history of God's faithfulness to the children of Israel. In Joshua chapter 24, verses 1 through 13, Joshua recounts everything that God has done for Israel. From Abraham bringing them out of Egypt, from Moses to the Red Sea, from the wilderness to the promised land, he remained with them and is remaining with them and with us. You didn't get here by your own strength. It was God all along. What Joshua is teaching them, he is telling them that when you serve God, you are called to remember. I need y'all to help me say that. I am called to remember. In other words, there are certain things and certain habits and certain worship and things that you will do and will not do because I remember what he did for me. And since he's been so faithful to me, I got to try to be so faithful to him. Before people can make the right choice, my brothers and sisters, we must rehearse the right history. I got to say that again. Before you can make the right choice, you must rehearse the right history. Joshua then in verse number 14 gives them a warning against cultural compromise. Now therefore, verse 14 says, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served. Joshua now is aware of the idols and outside influences that are creeping in, especially from the surrounding Canaanite cultures. The people had inherited land, but they did not inherit faith. God, I said they inherited land, but they did not inherit faith. Listen, oh God, I'm not going to leave you a big mansion without leaving you God to help you manage the mansion. We got to do more than leave stuff, and we should. We ought to leave a will and not a bill. And I believe what's happening, Elder Conrad, is the reasons our family are not the same is because we focusing on who getting the money and not who getting the wisdom. Am I teaching in here? We focusing on who getting the big payout and not who got the knowledge and the wisdom from the matriarch and the patriarch of our family. We got to go back and remember what God has brought our family through. He is calling them out of blending in and back to covenant living between them and God. So to have this dialogue, I got to cut and paste. What Joshua does is he gathers them at a place called Shechem. He gathers them at a place called Shechem because it holds great significance. He gathers them at Shechem because it holds great significance. Here is the significance. Number one, it was the site where God first appeared to Abraham in Canaan in Genesis chapter 12, and he built an altar there. Secondly, Jacob returned to Shechem. He buried the foreign gods under an oak tree to symbolize that this is holy ground and we're burying and killing off every foreign and idol god. So if you step on this ground, you cannot worship any idols because this ground belongs to God. Shechem was designated by Moses as the place where Israel would renew the covenant upon entering into the promised land. Deuteronomy chapter 27 verses 1 through 8. Not only that, but Shechem is geographically central. I hope y'all see where I'm going. Shechem is geographically central in Canaan, which made it a natural gathering place. In other words, Shechem was the place that it took the same distance for everybody to get to Shechem because it was right in the middle. I think y'all missing me. Shechem is like grandma's house. It's the place where we gather because it's the reminder of a faithful God that has brought us through so much. That's why, my brothers and sisters, one thing we should never do is sell mama's house and stop selling these folks property after you done been raised in this house. You done been survived in this house. Some of y'all done been birthed in the house. There are too many memories in that house for us to be selling it away. I know you may not want to live there, but don't sell the property, because whenever you forget what God has done, then you can go back to the house and remember, this is the place that God proved his faithfulness to me. And for those of us that haven't bought that, buy that house. Figure out that credit, get it done so that we can have a place to go. So your children can always have, y'all remember, do I have any help in here? Grandma's house, Papa's house was always the place. If you fall on hard times, if you ever going through, you ain't ever going to be out on the street. Just come on back to the house, baby. Yeah, just come on back. You might have to sleep in the room with a few other people, but at least you got a roof. I ain't got no help in here. See, we become so prideful and full of ourselves that we don't understand the legacy that has been laid before us. Can I encourage somebody? You ain't ever got to feel bad about going back to the legacy while you're building yours. This Shechem was a place of decision. It was a place that was linked to the past. It is a place of purity. This then brings us to our take-home truth. I'm not going to finish this. To bring us to our take-home truth, it is this, that legacies aren't just left. They are built brick by brick. Here's the important part. Through daily decisions to make God the center of your home. Let me say it again. Legacies aren't just left. They are built brick by, you know what brick by brick mean? When it get repossessed, that's actually a brick of legacy. Because I'm showing you that if I survived it, you can too. See, we think that all bricks aren't positive, Sister Crystal. Some bricks are negative when we look at it. But in the legacy of it, we'll see that God took me through all of that just for this. Here's my important part, and this is where I'm going next. Through daily decisions. Paul says, I die, how often? Daily. This brings us to point number one of our sermon. I'm probably going to have to end it here. Is that if we're going to understand that we're building a legacy of faith, we must have a decided devotion. we must have a decided devotion. Now listen, I sincerely used to believe in the infant stages of my relationship with God that in walking and committing myself to him, he was supposed to keep me from sin. I really believe that. Some of you believe that now. I really believed that because I was trying to live for him, when I wanted to do sin, he was supposed to grab me, take me away from the sin, and move me back to righteousness. So when I would be going on my way, I would pray what you used to pray. Lord, let me turn around. I lost all my help here. Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't want to make me stop. Make me stop. Make me stop. Give me a reason to go back home. Help me, Lord. You got to, no. I used to believe that he was supposed to stop me. And when he didn't stop me, I said, I must not really have a relationship with him. So I couldn't understand how I could be so thirsty for God, but so tempted by sin at the same time. Oh, God, I got no help in here. If I'm walking with you, why not just snatch the desire from me? It is because God is not a God of bully culture. He won't force us to walk in holiness. We must decide to be righteous. Look at somebody, tell them, make the decision. Yeah, it's not in God keeping you. You got to decide. All of us, we have that moment in our mind. We have that thought in our mind. Should I do this or should I not? That is the decision making. It is the cognitive ability that you and I have to make the decision to be delivered from sin. A.W. Tozer says it like this. He says, every man is as close to God as he wants to be. I got to say that again. That's good. He said, every man is as close to God as he wants to be. In other words, if you are not close to God, it is not because he moved. You did. And listen, I don't care how new school I get. I will never move the goalposts of righteousness. Even when it includes my wrongdoing. If I do wrong, it's still wrong. We become too busy trying to fit in our weaknesses, God, into the plan of God. Deliverance, my brothers and sisters, is a decision. It is not magic. It is not mystical. It is not a miracle. It is a decision. This is what Joshua says in the beginning of verse 15. I told you I was too much here of this text. He says, if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord. In other words, he says, that's your choice. He then tells them, but choose ye this day, verse 15, who you will serve. The word choose in the Hebrew, watch this, means to try. So in other words, he says, today, try who you want to serve. Yeah, when grief grips you, and when sin shames you, when bills burden you, when debt drowns you, when silence scars you, when the night numbs you, and when distance depletes you, and when sickness scars you, you got to decide who you going to try. Who will you run to? And I am always amazed at the answers that I hear of going through. Because going through does not mean stay away. Going through means come to and not stay away from. I thought I would have more help in here on that. This refers to Abraham's ancestors and possibly other early patriarchs before God called Abraham into idolatry. He says, are you going to serve the gods on the other side of the river? That means east of the Euphrates River, specifically the region of Mesopotamia where Abraham's family originally lived in Genesis chapter 11. Remember, if you remember that story of Abraham, he says, get away from your kinfolk. He says, go where? Go to a place that I will show you. He told Abraham, there's too much idolatry here. There's too much wickedness here. So in order for me to birth the next generation, you got to get away, oh my God, from this idol worship. That region was known for idol worship, including the worship of false gods like Sin or the moon god or Shamash, which is the sun god. They were worshiping all of these different other gods. And Abraham had to get away so that he could establish a legacy of faith for you and I. You will never know, my brothers and sisters, you will never know the fullness of Christ until you know the emptiness of everything else. I said you will never know the fullness of Christ until you know the emptiness of everything else. The premise is this, is that walking with God means choosing fulfillment over familiarity. And some of us are so comfortable and we're so familiar with where we are that we don't want to step out and do what God is calling us to do. I know I'm on your road right now. Yeah, we become familiar. I don't want to do that. I want to stay comfortable. I don't want to be out front. I don't want to work. I don't want to pray. I don't want to sing. I don't want to do all of that. And what happens is we stray away because we're trying to run away. When the truth is, you cannot outrun the call on your life or the eye of God. Joshua says this, after all of that, he says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Listen, text tells us, Taylor, to teach us whether it's in a tent or a palace or a temple or in a hut, we will serve the Lord. Whether we're in a mansion or a one-bedroom apartment, we will serve the Lord. If we're on the bus, in the car, in the SUV, we will serve the Lord. I wish I had some help in here. There's some of us in the room, we understand that sometimes I am closest to God when I am furthest away from everything else. Because this history of what he has done for my family goes beyond what God has done from his hand. See, many of us are focusing on what God has done from his hand because we can't think about what he did from his heart. God has done more for you than give you stuff. Watch this. He gave you you. You ever stop to think about how grateful you should be that after all you've been through, he still allows you to be you? That all this stuff, missionary Britt, it ain't made you bitter. It ain't made you mad. It ain't made you angry. It ain't made you kill nobody. After all I've been through, I've got plenty of reasons to have gone cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So the reason I praise him is because after all that, he still let me be who I am. I could have lost my mind. I should have lost my mind. But he still lets me be me. I don't think we understand the gravity of that. I mean, we done been through surgeries. We done been low. We lost loved ones. Our mind has been depressed. We've been filled with anxiety. We've been left for dead by the people that said they would never leave. They turned their back on us. They wiped us away, scandalized your name, and here you still are. You're standing. I may have tears in my eyes, but I'm still right here. Oh God. Got to get out of here. And so now, brothers and sisters, we must decide to serve him. Who are we serving? Who's Joshua talking about? We'll serve the God that put the bush on fire. We'll serve the God, the messianic mention that was water in the wilderness. Lord, I wish I had a voice. We'll serve the God, watch this, that made dry land in the middle of the sea. Do y'all understand the crossing of the Red Sea? Okay, do you understand the crossing of the Red Sea? I don't teach math. I've never taught math. I will never teach math. If I got to teach math, I'm no longer teaching. But I do have an equation for you. Okay. Here's your equation. Water plus dirt equals mud. It's not super, it's not natural, it's not rocket science, but water plus dirt equals mud. But they walked through on dry land. You want to know why this was significant to the children of Israel and for you and I? If there was still mud at the bottom of the sea, there would have been footprints to find them as they were tracking into a new dimension. But God made it dry so that the enemy couldn't find them. The reason you and I got to build this legacy of faith is so that we can destroy the footprints that are trying to destroy our children and our children's children. Some of our families can't be delivered because we're like Hansel and Gretel. We're leaving crumbs behind. Play softly. I got to stop. We're serving the God that in the wilderness put food on the table from heaven gates by providing manna from on high. I don't have time to finish. We have too much to do today. Point number 2 is a distinct difference. Then point number 3 is a declared dependence. That there must be a distinct difference between who we serve. In other words, Mother Scott, when people look at you, when they interact with you, when they see you, when they hug you, can they tell that there's something different about you? And I'm not saying, Sister Dana, that you're perfect. But I am saying that people can tell, should be able to tell, there's something about them that has caused them to be called out, to be different. The Bible says it like this: come out from among them and be ye separate, says the Lord.